B. Oops. BOGO. 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 B. One. Good. One. Yeah, this is a Minecraft Let's Play / podcast discussion. Talk a lot. I don't know. I have a topic and we talk about it, discuss it, think about it in real time playing Minecraft. So I've been playing Helldivers a lot. I know, original. I'm the only one. It's an indie game, but it's really good. I really enjoy it a lot more than I thought I would. I didn't get into it right away because the date is 4:15 right now, 1 in the morning. I have to go to work tomorrow, but I've been playing. I have like 30 hours in it, I'd say, and it's really good. I really enjoy it. The machine gun, like, it's a beautiful game. First of all, even on low settings, it's a beautiful game. But what really strikes me about it is that when I'm like, especially against the automatons, when I'm fighting them, it feels almost like a military sim. Not in the gunplay, but just in the feeling I get, because like their patrols and they have patrols going through, just walking around, and you'll spot them, and you'll crouch down behind a rock, and you pull up your gun, and like you'll like ping it to your teammates, and you'll just kind of sit there for a minute. And there is this, especially in the higher difficulties, when those big guys with a lot of rockets, they kind of toss you around. There's that moment in between, you know, sitting there, sighting them in, getting ready, getting your airdrops ready, whatever, and shooting. That, like, I feel like it is how it feels to be at war. I know that's kind of a silly thing to say, but there's just this anticipation and the minimal HUD, the recoil, like getting shot, like it all like getting shot. It all feels good. It feels like war. There's a panic to it when you're behind that rock and like they turn their guns to you. The rockets concuss you, and like the smoke. So many of the planets, the sight line is 5 feet in front of you, shooting at shadows. And then on the lower difficulties, it's not that big of a deal because, I mean, it's just easy. But once you get to like hard or expert or whatever, it turns into can get really panicky really quick. And that's something I haven't really seen or felt in a game before. I'm not a big gamer, especially with new titles. So this is, maybe I'm out of line, but it's just really good. And the machine gun, like I was using, there's like 2 machine guns for like the airdrop, right? I was using the smaller one for a long time. I had no clue what I was doing, but I switched over to the big one with the box mag, and it's so much fun. Machine guns, war. Let's just say war, but machine guns specifically. The bigger and the longer I can shoot, the better. And that being said, the heavy machine gun kind of sucks, just because you really can't like pull out of that thing. You have to burst fire, and that betrays the spirit of the machine gun, in my opinion. The machine gun is meant to be, at least in fun gaming land, the machine gun is meant to be held down until I've spent all 150 bullets in 5 seconds and killed probably 2 things out of the horde surrounding me. But just sitting behind the rock and shooting a machine gun into the dust storm, it's one of the best games I've played in a long time. It's not really, I don't think it's because it's like a great game and that it does anything differently than anything else, but it just, nothing gets in the way. Like, you go, like, my favorite mission types are the ICBMs. You just launch a nuke, which I mean, talk about explosions in a bit, but you just launch a nuke in the direction of somewhere, and you just watch it go off. It's perfect fantasy, honestly. I don't know what I'm doing. Well, we'll save that for later. But like you go there, like those missions, like you have 40 minutes, and from my experience it takes like 35, because like everybody, like it's understood, like everybody does everything. You know, you have your illegal broadcasts, you have your light, medium, heavy encampments, whatever. Everybody like it's 100% every time, and because it's almost not worth your time to do it any differently. I mean, I guess if you're just going for samples, maybe, but it doesn't make any sense to me. So, like everybody just does everything. So you just circle around the map and you sweep up the place, and like that in itself is such an like ingenious, so simple and straightforward, but it's so ingenious because you feel it in the moment, like on the micro and the macro. You feel it in the moment, like you're actually fighting a war, and you're like there's the casualties like matter on their side. Like it is somewhat endless with like the bot drops or whatever, but it's still, even then, it still feels like you're making progress. Like seeing the mini map, like the red no-go areas all disappear over the course of 30 minutes. Like you feel a part of it, and nothing gets in the way of that either, which is important, which I feel like people don't appreciate. Because it's been so long since we've had a game like that, I feel, where political messages or gameplay bugs or things don't get in the way. There's very little bugs for this game as well, and when there are bugs, they're pretty funny bugs, or things you can kind of laugh at. Nothing really destroys it. The game's crashed a couple times, but that happens with everything nowadays, unfortunately. But the fuck, I lost my thought. Well, yeah, it's clear. It's clear. Nothing gets in the way, which is something. As someone who's become aware of time spent, like I appreciate that. There's no bullshit. There's no pop-ups in this. And it's not that other games do or don't have pop-ups, but like just if things get in the way of me playing the game. And what I don't even know if it's because it does anything differently. It's just because you get in the mission, and like 90% of the missions take 35 minutes. But it's never, there's always a bit of a running simulator. If you don't trace the map properly, you kind of have to run back and forth. But that's, I mean, we're all kind of used to that, kind of running around aimlessly. But that's what the patrols make that interesting, because you're just going to get the codes for the nuke, and then there's a convoy, and five of them have rocket packs on them, and you get ragdolled and just get annihilated. It really is a remarkable experience, and it bridges the gap, I feel, between war simulators, because I play a little bit of, like, no arma or anything, but I played my fair share of war simulators, and it's the machine gun. Like, I guess maybe I'm just autistic in a special way, but like the machine gun is like proning down, sighting up, and like as long as a guy comes every 2 minutes, I could be there for a decade. I'd be that one Japanese guy in the jungle who like didn't get the memo that the Empire lost the war, and he's just in the jungle for 80 years. That would be me, as long as one fisherman walked by and I could kill him. But it's like, war is fun. War is fun. I love war. I mean, what guy doesn't love war, to be really honest? which is an interesting thing to think about. You know, I remember being a kid. I'm sure every guy remembers being a kid and drawing like whatever war you were kind of a part of, drawing it. You know, if you were Star Wars or whatever video game you're playing, you know, sitting at the classroom, ignoring the teacher and drawing the spaceship from memory. I did that with a lot of things. I did that with Lord of the Rings. I draw those wraiths or whatever. But just tanks are cool. Guns are cool. War is cool. Obviously, it goes without saying that dying isn't always the best thing that could happen to a guy, but you know, who am I to say that you shouldn't die? War is fun, and games like Helldivers really kind of hit that home, which is why I feel like that's why, not to get, I mean, I guess we're gonna get political here for a little bit. That's why leftists have to like really hammer the point, like this is satire, fascism's bad. Like, I mean, I get it, okay, but like there's like that cool, like they can't just let it be cool. They have to like try and fight and make it somewhat silly. I don't have any lights. Well, I guess we're burning lumber today, boys. But it's just, I can't get over how fun it was, how fun it is. And I'm surprised at myself. Again, maybe it's some sort of autism, but I'm surprised at myself for how I'm not bored of it. And then I feel like the reason for that is because there's really two different games in that. Maybe there'll be more in the future. And what I mean by that is the robots. I can't think of their name, and then the Tyranids or whatever the fuck they're called, the bugs, playing against the bugs versus the robots. In a lot of ways, it's a very different game. I always change my loadout, like my loadout, my stratagems, all of them. I change them when I go between the bugs and the robots. So I played completely differently when I'm fighting certain enemies. And I feel like that's also an not pointed out boon to the game, or kind of proves its worth. Definitely worth $40. Is that there really is two different game modes in that. Like, and then from those game modes, it stems down to like, you know, your ICBM, like ICBM, like, and then like kill the enemy for like. Kill 100% of the enemy in the area. Do that for 10 minutes. ICBM, blow, like... Those are the only two I really play, to be honest. I like... It's just because I like... And again, it's the autism speaking. I like the ICBM missile missions because it's so much fun to just fire a nuke in a direction. I understand terrorism. I understand war. I understand the human mind. It's just so much fun to sweep the map up, collect the codes, power the generator, and then, you know, send the missile on its way and just watch it arc, watch the trail arc, and blow up just somewhere. I don't know. Not my problem. I know where it's going is a good place. It's going to a good home. Put it that way. And that's another thing I see, and it's a leftist. They try, like, they latch onto these ideas like that, you know, the bugs are the real victims. And the same thing with Star Troopers. There was a lot of Twitter drama. I go on Twitter quite a bit about Star Troopers, about how the bugs were the real victims, and it's just. Well, first off, either way, it doesn't matter. Humanity first. I mean, let's get to the truth out of the way before we like get lost in the sauce. Humanity first. This kind of how it is. Hey, I'm sorry, but humanity number one. Avatar. Fuck the blue guys. uh, Helldivers, Starship Troopers, whatever. Humanity first, every time. But what like there's Starship Troopers, Pandora I can understand a little bit more. I mean, I guess Avatar, Pandora being the planet, I can understand a little bit more. There's confusion in that. But like Helldiver, like the robots, like half of the robots have swords for arms, like have metal chainsaws for arms, and their face is like a skull glowing red. You couldn't, and it's funny coming from leftists, who are like ultra anti-fascist, to not be able to see like the robot bases being metal clad, glowing red with skulls on spikes. Like those guys aren't the good guys, and regardless of who started it, it's obvious that we can't live in the same universe. So one of us has to go, and you know, I guess I'm a human, so I'm partial to humanity, but it boggles my mind. And I mean, beyond that, it boggles my mind how anybody could really care. It's a video game. You know, I'm cowering behind a rock with a machine gun, shooting at robots, and like getting my rocks off because of it. And again, it's so like the machine, like something about war. I've yet to be able to explain it. Like machine guns are so much fun. Like any like even in like Counter-Strike, like picking up the Negev and just laying waste down Banana, or Helldivers, or Call of Duty a little bit less. It's just because I play multiplayer. Multiplayer doesn't really lend itself to that, but just machine guns are so much fun. I don't really know why, but also like artillery, like RTSs, like Supreme Commander. There's something like I could play RTSs forever too, because you just, especially when the artillery is good. There's sometimes artillery is just kind of whatever. It's a stationary unit that shoots bombs, you know, at a long range. It's kind of whatever. But like games like Supreme Commander, you feel the artillery, and it's somewhat of a, I think, probably autistic tick, but I do it sometimes when I'm kind of bored, or kind of want to lose my mind for 30 minutes. Let's play a game against normal bots, and just like hold the line, like set the game mode so that it's only land, and then just hold the line against like 4 easy bots for as long as I can. And then as soon as one of them gets to the point where they build artillery, I get my 50 engineers to build in a single spot, like by the end of the game, like 100 artillery in one spot, and you can select all of it and tell it to fire. So what I'll do is I'll tell it to fire somewhere, and then I'll like tell it to fire where I want it to fire. So all the cannons stop, all the cannons point to where I want it to go, and they all fire at once. And you can zoom out in that game, and you can see these yellow dots peer, like zing across a map. It's so good. It's unbelievable. Like it's beautiful. And that's like I've yet to be able to I've yet to see anybody else explain or be able to understand it myself why Total War is such an amazing and fun thing to do. And in any position, you know, being the general commanding an army of 1,000 tanks, or like being the tank guy, like playing like there's moments in like War Thunder where, you know, you roll up like just 5 random guys and you roll up a street, and you just like one by one you get picked off. Like even in death, it's so good. Like it feels good to die in those games, in those moments when you're not in that, when you're just kind of like crouched behind a building and some jackass in a Israeli paid tank shoots your asshole. You know, it's kind of that's when it's not so fun to die. But when it's those moments, it's good that it's even good to die. It's the same kind of thing where, you know, the meme where guys think about Rome, the Roman Empire, like once every day. It stems from that same thing like that, and it's genetic from birth because you know you draw, like I said in the beginning, like you draw whatever war show. You know, for me it was like Lord of the Rings, but it was also Star Wars, Clone Wars, like from Cartoon Network. Just like I drew General Grievous like 1,000. General Grievous was so cool. I drew him 1,000 times. It's just there's just something about it, and it's weird to say, but it's oddly beautiful. Like there's this modern propensity to kind of bash war as a political statement, and then you know support war when it's financially beneficial for you. But besides that, like, and I mean, again, war does destroy a lot of things, and people included. But to look at like a Panzer, or to like watch a ballistic missile fire from a cruiser, and to see it go off, if you told me that you didn't like that or didn't see a beauty in that, I'd call you a liar. I honestly would, or insane and emotional, because if you can strip away the emotion of that and just appreciate something beyond my ability to describe, there's a beauty in that ICBM arcing across the sky and landing, seeing the light, the mushroom cloud billow, and then watch the shockwave kind of push you back. Talking about Helldivers again. There's just something about it, and I'm talking about this because it's 4/15, April 15th, and yesterday, I think it was yesterday afternoon, is Iran sent drones, you know, and they told Israel like a decade ahead of time, basically, that hey, we're sending drones this way, so you know we're gonna blow up these 5 buildings. You have 10 hours to move. Anybody you don't want to die. So it was kind of a fake, you know, showing of force, just kind of whatever. I guess I didn't hear this, but I guess Israel bombed an Iranian delegation, which is a big thing to do. So Iran's responding in sort, and World War III was trending on Twitter like it does about every other month or so now, and I've been thinking about it. And I honestly can say this, and I always get, whenever I bring this up to anybody, which I don't do a lot, because when I do, it's hard to explain. I'm never able to explain it. I would like to die in a war, but that's the thing, like not Afghanistan, not like the past Afghanistans of the 20 year, like the past 20 years Afghanistan or Iraq or whatever, like not some brush war in the desert, or in some you know proxy war in Vietnam or Korea, in a Cold War kind of heating up a little bit moment, like World War III. Like I want total war is really kind of what I want. I already had a pickaxe, and it's just I don't know. I can't explain it. Like I don't want to die, and I obviously don't want to die. I mean, I don't mind living. If you call this living, I don't mind living. I don't have a death wish. I'm not that suicidal or anything. And I understand that war is a, you know, kind of an eraser of mankind and history and architecture, not good. But I guess if it's gonna happen, right? That's the thing. Like me saying I want World War III doesn't mean anything. It's not gonna happen based on whether I want it or not. And it's the same thing for you not wanting it. It's not gonna not happen because you say no. So with that with that perspective, I guess it's just like if I'm drafted and I'm on the boats to go over fight some Russians, like I might as well enjoy it. And I guess there's just a lot of things to enjoy about it. And it's only in moments where, in the video games, really, because I really haven't seen a good war movie in a while. I don't really keep track of things, so maybe I'm out of line, but there's like going back to Helldivers, it's just there's something about that, like I guess it's like that life or death moment. Like that's the realest shit there is especially in this online fake, nothing's real, everything's padded down for the lowest common denominator. There's that moment where you're behind the rock, you got your machine gun ready, and like you can feel it. There is this tangible feeling that I don't have a word for that comes over you, and like it's exciting. Maybe not because of the feeling, but because it's real. Holy shit! I found moss. I'm digging this mine like a moron, but that's, I mean, it's kind of whatever. How do I want to deal with this? Ooh, that's not good. Good thing I wasn't standing on top of that. That would have been not a good way to die. But yeah, no, it's just that it's what I want to talk about. I don't know. That's what I want to talk about. There's a genuine need for violence, and I think in man, you know, your hand can make a fist for a reason, evolution, God, whatever. You know, you're meant. I feel, especially I think exclusively, but especially men, like you're meant to be violent. Not necessarily that you just act it out like a crazy person, but that it's just, no, actually, like lifting weights, being able to walk into a room and be, I can kill 5 of these people before they take me down, right? It doesn't really, like, I'm not gonna do it. I don't want to. I mean, because it spells the end for me. All of society, especially Western society, is built around punishing, and maybe rightfully so, any sort of violent outburst. And you know, you don't want to go to prison, no matter what. The point is of, you know, violence is good or whatever. You don't want to go to prison. Is not a good place to be. You don't gotta be a genius to figure that out. You just get locked. Like it changes you. It has to, right? You get locked into a room with people who are, you know, 60 IQ, uncapable. And this is the thing. Either they're uncapable of feeling emotion or pity or of another like especially feel emotions of another person. So like they'll shank you for no real reason. I would imagine, and you know, having to live in a real war zone for prolonged periods of time, jungle style, you know, renegade, rebel style. I feel like that would drive. I feel like you would go insane, but it would be such a slow burn, right? You wouldn't go and there's initial shock, obviously, but there's a slow burn to it. I would bet that you kind of lose it. You lose grip on the real world ever so slightly, because if you lost it all immediately, you almost would be able to kind of reconcile that and fight against it, but you would change incrementally over time, and you just kind of lose yourself in the mayhem. And that's why I think like war is so good, is because it's the chaos, the mayhem, the annihilation is so immediate and so sudden that you feel the change. You see it in yourself. I don't know. What are we talking about again? It's just there is something to Helldivers that really is beautiful, and that's I think that's kind of also the point. is military sims. It is like Arma 3, and I'm sure like Squad. I own Squad. I played it for like 20 minutes. I joined a server. I walked. I had no idea. Walked for 20 minutes really, and I probably died and just left, which I think that's indicative of most like ultra realistic military sims. And that's why I don't want to be in like the brush wars, Afghanistan, or Vietnam might be a little bit different, but I think the point still stands. Like I like the total war. Almost like World War One was kind of the beginning of World War One was the last good war to be in. World War Two, you know, it's just like there's like the technology behind these wars. It made it impossible for man to really withstand it. Because in the beginning years of World War One, it was, you know, the trench warfare. Everyone dug in. There were, as far as I understand, there really were no tanks. I mean, there's airplanes dropping bombs and the such, but I believe, I don't know, might be off on that, but it wasn't like the tanks, like the mechanization made war unapplicable to man in the same way as like Napoleon, right? Where you had your flanks of guys, like your flanks of soldiers, you know, 20 muskets in a squad. There was a glory to be had in that. There was a glory. Maybe it was only for, you know, the generals of that time, but there was a glory to be felt in a real ability. I would have to have a impact. Even if a small one, like you really could impact the battlefield in those eras. And in World War One too, like I'm sure you could use one. But once the tank, like the point is, like when the tank came in, the British tank came rolling over. Like there was nothing. That it's just like they just had more, and man couldn't withstand that. And especially look at now, like Apache helicopters. You know, like that. It's as a man against that. There's nothing you can do about it. Like you lost. There's no glory in that. There's just survival. There's no glory to be won. That you can't win against that. And I guess that's just kind of rough. I guess you win. We win some, you lose some. We were born just in time to fight in shitty wars. And shitty generals too. I can't imagine modern generals of anywhere being anything remarkable or substantial. I mean, Napoleon's the obvious one that everyone goes to, but like a real just force of nature, like a demigod almost. And those kind of guys are gone, and I don't think they're coming back. I mean, but I guess it's just a different type of life now. Back to Helldivers though. It's just a really good game. It's a really good game, and it's remarkable. I feel like it should be remarked on that making good games is possible. Like Suicide Squad was kind of like a game that I saw getting lampooned, and it was deservedly. And it's like Spider-Man, people are talking about Spider-Man. Apparently, Spider-Man 2 is basically Spider-Man 1, but just different, which is kind of crazy to me. What is happening? That we're okay with them kind of just doing that. And I don't blame anybody for not knowing that they can ask for more. But with Helldivers, it really is that we can ask for, like, we can not only we can ask, we should ask. Not only that we should ask, we need to demand that. They're like Helldivers. It's just a good game. It's good, like no politics, no nothing. It's just a good game that's fun to play. Very little, like the microtransactions. Obviously, microtransactions are bad. We all can agree on that. Whether or not you think they're evil or not, I suppose, differs probably based on the age. Your age. If you're over 25, I wouldn't be surprised if you thought microtransactions are the devil. I personally don't think they're inherently evil. I guess I grew up with CS:GO, phase case openings, and anomaly spending thousands of dollars. So I'm kind of a gamble guy. but like the microtransactions in the game are very minimum. It's just it's just armor sets, and you can get the currency. It's hard. I mean, I wouldn't imagine if you're going to buy something, I wouldn't imagine grinding for it because you get very little. But with the war bonds and the in-game currency, you can get a couple armor sets without spending a penny that are premium and look really cool. That's another thing. Like the armor sets in the first war bond, which is basically a battle pass, but I think better. The armor sets in there. God, it's still I'm kind of starving to death here. Or at least I will be. The armor set, like 90% of the armor sets that I've seen are in between good and beautiful, and you can get them all basically by just playing the game. Realistically, if you bought every single armor set that comes out, it might be a little cooked, but there's just a genuine beautiful, good looking, beautiful. There's one armor set I'm thinking of in particular. I don't know the names of any of them. I'll slap a JPEG on the screen, but it's just a great game. And talking about the robots, going back all the way off that tangent, the bugs, the robots are fun because it's like a real. It feels like a real war, and obviously with the creek getting compared to Vietnam, which I think at one point the peak of that whole thing, like the peak amount of people who are on that one planet, fighting the robots, surpassed the amount of people who were in Vietnam. I think in the total of Vietnam's war, like the entirety of the Vietnam War, how many Americans or whatever were stationed there, we surpassed with active players. And that's just because of it's a great game, but that's the robots, it is fighting a war, like a factional war. But with the bugs, you get like this horde mode. And I haven't fought for like the Titans, the Bile Titans, whatever you call them. I find them to be annoying more than they are terrifying or good, I guess. I find them to be kind of annoying. Same thing with the Rhino one or whatever. That is a thing. That is a thing to note. It's kind of a meme that the bugs are for the coward players or the chill players or whatever, but those two bug types are unbelievably, and I guess it's not hard, it's just unbelievably annoying to play against. I guess I'll just keep digging. I found a little cave here. I'm not entirely focused on the mining of the hand, but that's okay. Ooh. Back to the bug. Like the bug, is a horde mode. It really is, and sometimes the horde mode is a little too hordy. Oh god, I hate that so much. I hate looking over the edge. It drives me insane. In real life and in video games, I like looking, especially, well, I guess it depends on the game. Minecraft is one of those games where doing this sets me on edge. It's even worse than Nether, and it's the absolute worst in the end when you're looking down into the black void. But the bugs, it really is a different game. It's a different game, and it's not as in there's patrols, obviously, which I guess lends the idea that they're sentient. You know, they're not just bugs. There's some sort of hive thing, which I think that would be like a really cool. I'm sure they're gonna do it. It's the most obvious thing in the world, but sometimes the most obvious thing is most obvious because it's just really good. It would be really cool to have like hive mind, bug brains. You gotta go in and almost like an underground kind of thing would be really cool. Where you have to go underground and find the hive queen or whatever, but the fuck, my mind disappeared on me. The zombie came in and said, "Hey, no more drinking straight for you." Man, it's gold here and everything. This is kind of this is a really good spot if I knew what to do with it. You know, there's just diamonds down there, but how, like, I'm going back. I have my iron. I'm just digging I want easy access to the diamond layer. Going through this rat hole does not lend itself to easy access, so I'm continuing on my way. Hopefully I don't fall and die. But the bugs, they're not as fun. Like I said, with the trolls, like it doesn't feel the same. You know, like talking about like that moment when you're signing them up and getting ready, start blasting versus like the robots versus the bugs. It is a different feeling. In that there is no, it just isn't the same. Although it is a different feeling. There is like the horde mode, Call of Duty Zombies. There's something amazing about having, you know, it's unrealistic, I guess, in terms of war. Having like 100 bodies in front of you, and just with a machine gun unloading into them, and watching the blood just kind of paint the area in a fine mist. There's something about that as well, but it's more of an arcade. That is just video game fun, arcade fun, and I don't think it's anything spectacular or special or divine, I guess. But I'm looking forward to just playing it, because it's again, talking like praises, nothing but praises. It's so straightforward. You load up the game, you go, what planet do I want to give my life to, and then you find the mission you want to, click R, quick match. I do R a lot. There is some lobby issues. Maybe it's just me, my indecisiveness, but I click. Sometimes I'll go hunting for the ICBM missions, and I can never get them. Just network errors happen in the connecting there. I'll quick match and then end up doing like a civilian rescue mission, which they patched it. It's not as bad anymore, but it's still not quite as fun. It's just kind of whatever, blow things up, save humans. I mean, it's not bad, but it's not firing a nuclear missile at over there. It's definitely not that. But no, you just go in, like I said, like that's there's nothing, there's so little in your way. Like the only thing in your way is 3 minutes loading screens. I guess depends on your hard drive or you're on console. But there's so little in your way of just blowing things up. Especially if you join another mission. I almost exclusively join other people's missions. I don't know. I don't like doing it alone. I'm not a lone wolf guy, which is I usually kind of am. But just joining something like, they're 5 minutes into the mission, you know, they've blown up their first like light automaton factory, and I mean, you're just off to the races, and it's so good. I said that so much, but it's really, can't be overstated how good it is, how clean it is. It made me appreciate things, and I guess inversely, it's kind of made me hate modern games, and with a more of a directed passion than just kind of a whatever apathy. There's just so much garbage that gets in the way, and so many of the like playing, like you see, again Twitter, the screen caps of it's like the main characters in those games are ugly, especially the women, which is astonishing to me that anyone would want to make women ugly, but there's just nothing gets in the way of my playing the game, whether it's loading screens, very little loading screens, you know, microtransactions don't get in the way. Like I don't like with the battle pass, I don't feel really like I'm missing it. Like not like I'm missing anything. Like I'm at 90%, I'm at like 98% capacity in terms of gameplay from the get-go, and you get and a lot of the progress isn't from the battle pass, it's from unlocking new stratagems. You know, being able to drop like a mini nuke, which talking about artillery, I can't believe I forgot about I remember where I was when I first played the game, and I was probably like the whatever mission, first, second, third, where you find that I think it's the surf artillery. You just find like an abandoned artillery station just somewhere on the map, and you pick up the rounds, you put it in there, start it up, and you just have another stratagem. You have another drop thing, which, you know, talking about machine guns just being fun and like universally fun. Another, like artillery, big bombs are just universally fun, and I am picking up the mini nuke, seeing that for like it's like one of the shells is explosive, high explosive, or smoke, and then there's a stasis field one, and then I think it's the yellow one. You see the yellow one, and it says mini nuke, and oh my god, I was so sad that it was like the last one that I picked up to put in the line. I don't know if you can rearrange it after you put them in, but I didn't. If you could, I don't think you can. But I remember kind of keeping my eye on the counter. Like there's a time like it resets. You know, you can't spam it. But like as soon as time limit down, I'd throw it kind of anywhere. I'd blow up a patrol with a artillery shell just to get the mini nuke. And you know, one thing it does, I'm so lost. One thing it does so well as well, and I don't know if it's because the game is so good, but because the idea is just good and they don't get in the way of the idea. Just having a base and throwing a little ball, and then just seeing it erupt in fire and fury. Whether it's with your artillery shell or, you know, like your Eagle plane dropping a 500 kilogram bomb or missile runs or whatever. It's amazing. It feels good. It's a visceral feeling, and it feels spectacular. And it looks so good too. Like the mini nuke, all of it, it looks so great. Even like I play on low settings a lot of the time just because I'm kind of paranoid about burning my PC. But I mean, it's kind of how I am. Even on like the lowest settings, it looks so good, and I don't know if it's because it's a good looking game, but just because it's a great experience, and it kind of paints over my eyes, glosses over my eyes. It's so amazing. I haven't been giddy about a game. Like I play a lot of Counter-Strike, play a lot of TF2. I enjoy it. I enjoy playing them. But it's just kind of whatever. It's like, okay, I'm gonna play Counter-Strike for a while. Gonna have some fun there. Oh, I'm gonna play TF2. I'm gonna stream that. Gonna enjoy that. But like Helldivers is like a hoo, we're gonna play Helldivers, yeah, hoo. Like it's a real thing. I haven't felt that way in a while, and it's consistent too. It isn't like playing new games like I'll talk about. The last time I've ever pre-ordered anything was Cyberpunk. I know. I remember for like the decade that I was like being teased out, being like whatever, I don't care. I'm not a big RPG guy. And then with like the last 2 days before the game came out, like something in my brain clicked and I like full tilt into the FOMO, the fear of missing out, and I pre-ordered it, I preloaded it overnight. I don't know from work, plugged it in. I remember the emotions. I was really excited. It was really cool. It's like, this is okay, great RPG. You know, which I never played Witcher 3, but everyone says it's a great game, so this is gonna be beautiful. I'm gonna love this. I'm gonna dedicate like 500 hours. Like that was in my brain. I'm watching like the loading screen, like all that stuff. And I remember like for the first cutscene, the text like 30 seconds in, the textures glitch out. It's not a thing that destroys it, right? Because the game's still running, the character's still talking, like, but it tears you out of it. And the more you fight that fact that you just been ripped out of the matrix, and you just have to stare at ugliness. Oh God, I'm gonna die. You need to die, and I need to dig this hole right now. And pumpkin. Fuck, I lost myself. I lost where I was. I went out for food and I lost myself. But yeah, there's that moment. Just, and ever since then, I really haven't been as big of a gamer. Especially unless it's multiplayer games. I really don't care anymore about single player games. I'm kind of a zoomer with my brain splattered across the wall with an attention span of about 2 minutes. So playing an RPG, you know, it doesn't really work anymore for my brain. But more than that, there is just, I'm kind of out of, like, like Cyberpunk took me out of gaming in a weird way that I didn't even really realize. And I think Helldivers has brought me back in a little bit. I'm still, I mean, it's not stupid anymore. I'll blow my brains out before I pre-order a game, before I give it a FOMO, before I care like that. Because I really don't think anybody else can do it right, like Helldivers is doing it right. Which is hell, and again, it's not the same thing with Steam. Like EA putting their games on Steam, Ubisoft with the game, like their home browsers, and Epic Games too, kind of falling apart. At least on the outside. All Steam, like Steam sucks. You know, I loaded the marketplace to buy a skin like a moron, and I can't even do it because the market won't even open. Like the market won't open. I want to give Valve money. I want to buy a new skin for my M4 because I'm dead inside. And it's the only thing that gives me joy in this world, and I can't even give them my money because they don't know how to make a good application. And I don't even know if it's because it's a bad application. I have this if you know anything about skins, there's like the Doppler, and there's a rare version of the Doppler, but the Steam market doesn't recognize that. So the rare version of the Doppler is in the same listings as the Doppler, as a normal knife. So the bot, there's like people like script bots that scan it, like refresh it like every second probably, and there's probably 100 of these guys. There's probably 1,000 at this point. I don't know how. I guess, I mean, it's relatively free to do it, so I can't imagine you losing too much money. But I feel like there's a lot of that. There's like a million bots just refreshing like the marketplace and scanning for like rare items to try and like turn over a minuscule profit. And so I don't even know if the app like, but regardless of that, like Valve needs to fix it. They're not going to. It's Gaben. You know, they're not going to fix it. It's just how it is. But like even with that, like they're not Valve isn't doing anything spectacular or crazy or good. And it's not even that Helldivers 2 is doing anything. You know, they're not doing anything revolutionary in the sense where like they're reinventing the wheel or inventing the wheel. They're not idiots. Because despite whatever problems Steam might have, despite all like kind of whateverness of Helldivers, you know, compared to everything else, like EA's home thing versus Steam's, like Steam's is better. Even with like the inability to use the store page properly, or the community, or like the marketplace or anything. Even in spite of that, like the Steam is still better than all of it, and looks better too. Which is, again, it's not that Steam looks that good, but like if you open up Epic Games, and then you open up Steam looks better. At least I mean, in my opinion, I'm kind of good at knowing when things look good, I guess. But it's just astonishing to me, like how much free real estate in terms of like corporate America consumerism is there. How much free enterprise is there to be like just scooped up by the first person who isn't a moron? It terrifies me, because it's like maybe like it gives me this idea like maybe I could do it better, and that shouldn't be the case anymore. I shouldn't be able to say I can do it better than game devs, but at this point I can do it better than game devs. You know, and it's half the reason I can do it better than them is because I would start doing it, look at what I'm doing, and say I'm not gonna do this. And I'd stop doing it, and then nothing would happen, and we would be done with the day. But that doesn't happen. What happens is that these people get, you know, $500 million from Sony, or you know, $250 million from Activision to make Call of Duty 3 Warzone, and they can't, you know, like updating the game. It's 130 gigabytes. It's unacceptable. But people, I guess it's just what it is. People accept it. People download it. People play it. I can't say I hate them, but I mean, I also can't be like, I can't not laugh at them when they are like surprised. It just runs shittily. It's unoptimized. The texture, like there's zero compression. There's like 10 billion polygons per model because they hired, you know, absolute morons to do all the work. Right, like hired Indians who went to Indian colleges to do work to try and save a penny. And it's at the expense of my hard drive space. It's just insane. It's ineptitude, and it's just bad. And it's really funny how bad it is when you step back and look at it. You know, you get locked in a cycle, and you kind of just deal with it, and you kind of lose sight of the bigger picture. But if you step back, or you exit the cycle, and then you go back and look, you go back into it. It's really hard not to see how hideous it is, how terrible it is. This is good. I don't know. Yeah, I'm taking a drink of water. Ooh, man, water. How long am I doing this? I don't even know. I probably should kind of maybe wrap it up a little bit. We're going on. I've been talking for a fucking hour, man. Holy shit. No one's gonna watch this. That's okay. it's kind of for me more than anything. Kind of more for me than anything. So this is probably gonna be a weekly thing. Bi-weekly, we'll see. Every Monday, every other Monday, never again. I don't know. Like I said, I kind of, it's for me. It's a lot for me. I've had this idea for a while. I mean, you know, podcasting. Who would have thought of that before? Crazy. But I feel like this is a little bit different. I feel like it's kind of nice doing the Minecraft at the same time. But it's mainly for me to just like talk. So what I do a lot is I have these ideas, I have these thoughts, and I'll spend like 30 minutes, full-fledged ideas. And then, not that these ideas are revolutionary good, but they're not nothing. I know what nothing is, and they're certainly not nothing. But then I just can't like but another besides like, you know, the tooting my own horn, I got good ideas. The other side of that, like, ideas stick in my brain. Not so much like today's was kind of a light topic, but like more serious topics get stuck in my head, and I can't get them out till I talk. So I'll end up like talking to myself for an hour, and then it's gone. So this is just, I don't even know. This is just to try and alleviate that. Kill 5 birds with 2 stones. And it's easy content, right? But it's good. I've a good podcast, and I'm not saying this is a good podcast yet. Is good. I enjoy interesting conversations. I guess again, the autism. Like I like kind of weird things. I like talking. I don't have anyone to talk to, so I'll talk to you guys. Yeah, that was a spooky, eerie noise to send us off on the first Minecraft Let's Play BOGO Be One Good One podcast. Absolutely horrendous inventory management, but hey, I might do some offline stuff to kind of. I need to, because I need to find where I put my fucking base. I lost my base. I wanted to get some steak, and I ended up losing where I lived. But that's all. I mean, it's good practice for talking in real, like, just in general, like being able to like focus on ideas, stand upon them in real time. So I don't know. I kind of it. Once the ball kind of started rolling, it was pretty easy. Have a good one. See you next week.